interneuron. Okay, let's start from the sensory neurons. Try to understand what is sensory. The word itself explains, kind of sense or something, like initial, in the beginning you sense something and then you take the action. So actually the sensory neurons are the nerve cells that are activated by sensory input from the environment. For example, when you touch a hot surface with your fingertips, the sensory neurons will be the ones firing and sending off signals to the rest of the nervous system about the information that they have received actually. And that input, the input that activates sensory neurons, can be physical or chemical, corresponding to all 5 of our senses. Thus, a physical input can be things like sound, touch, heat, or light. That is a chemical input, comes from taste or smell, which neurons then send them to the brain, and that's a pretty easy concept to understand. And other thing is that most sensory neurons are pseudo unipolar. That's another classification of the neurons. We haven't talked about it, but we are going to talk about another classification of the neuron as well in another video. But we have to just remember this one here. You gotta cram this one. That the most sensory neurons are pseudo unipolar, which means that they only have one axon, which is split into 2 branches. Alright, this is a pretty basic concept. And now let's move towards the motor neuron. Motor neurons of the spinal cord, are part of the central nervous system and connect to muscles, glands, and organs throughout the body. These neurons transmit impulses from the spinal cord to skeletal and smooth muscle, such as those in stomach. You know that, and so directly control all of our muscle movement. And these are motor neurons. And actually there are in fact 2 types of motor neurons. Those that travel from spinal cord to muscle are called the lower motor neurons, whereas those that travel between the brain and spinal cord are called upper motor neurons. You might have heard this one first time, but you have to grab this concept about the lower motor neurons and the upper motor neuron. You pretty understand my word, right? So the motor neurons have the most common type of body plan for a nerve cell. They are multipolar, each with 1 axon and several dendrites. That's the easy concept about multipolar. Now let's move towards the interneuron. And what is interneuron? As the name suggests, interneurons are